And we're live. Welcome, welcome, ladies. Hello, hello. My name is Taylor Thompson. We're coming to you live here in the She Network, where it's Tuesday with Taylor. And I have my very, very special guest coming on. I can't wait to introduce her. But as you are coming on, I'm sure you're reading in the comments, how does a mom of 7 juggle life and business and still be able to have a multi-six-figure income? Wouldn't you want to know all of her tips and tricks, right? So as you're coming on, let us know you're here. We want to know where you're coming in location. If this is your first time, let us know, #replay. And I have a special giveaway if you stay till the end and you share this out. So I'm going to be giving away a Rankmakers Live ticket today. So as you're coming on, let us know. First of all, you have to let us know you're here in order to be eligible, and you have to mash that share button and share it with those you love, or tag somebody inside the group that you've added. So any tag, any share, you go into a drawing for a ticket to Rankmakers Live, kicking off October the 8th, coming up. My best friends, Ray and Jess Hignan, love those guys. So as you're coming on, welcome. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Sandra. Glad you guys are here. I am going to introduce to you now. I know it is. Can you even, a mom of 7? Like, what? This lady is a queen on every level. I can't even. So this is my beautiful friend, Miss Wendy Stephenson. Wendy, how are you, dear?
Doing great. Thank you so much, Taylor, for having me. I'm excited. You have an awesome community here. I can feel the vibe already. And I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for taking out time. I mean, I don't even know if you have any time carving out just being a mom of 7 and then having a business on top of that. Like, wow, what an inspiration, just that in and of itself. I mean, like, most women are like, mom of 7? Like, that doesn't even happen anymore.
It doesn't happen often. My pastor, though, she's got my pastor and his wife have 9, and I think they're working on 10.
So. Well, God bless them too. Okay, I'm just gonna
crazy people.
Like, just God bless you and your family, and like just being a mom. You know, I remember crying whenever I was pregnant with my third. Like, you know, whenever I was gonna have 3, I'm like, I only have 2 hands. What am I gonna do? Like you don't have enough legs or hands here going on.
So Taylor, I don't know if you know this part of my story, but I actually was adopting. So I had 3 kids. Yeah. I was adopting one. I found out he had a brother, so it turned into 2. We went to visit them, and my husband fell in love with a little girl with special needs there. And so in that week, we decided, okay, we're going to adopt 3 kids. And it's the same week I found out I was pregnant with our 4th.
Okay, whoa. Okay, so wait, you're giving away the goods before we even have a chance to dive in here.
Sorry.
Okay, so whoa, stop the press. Okay, let's just dive into this conversation here, because mom of 7. So let's talk about this story. You started out as an entrepreneur, right? Or you were in business for yourself?
Well, so the first part of my life, in my 20s and early 30s, I was in the corporate world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were highly successful in the corporate world, right?
I did all right. I did pretty good. Yeah.
So in this so whenever you got to, were you already an entrepreneur before you got to mom of 7, or?
I became an entrepreneur first. That allowed us the time freedom to be able to adopt.
Okay, so let's jump right in. So you started out, you were in the corporate world. How were you exposed to network marketing? Because I love this part of your story, because I think a lot of women will resonate with this piece right here. So tell us about that.
So yeah, I mean, I had a friend approach me about a network marketing company, and I feel bad because I really, if you guys have ever been told no and it was a really aggressive no, I was one of those. I was like, I literally was like, I have a real job. Like, I don't need that. I was not very nice. And so I just looked down on the profession for whatever reason. All I knew about it was home parties. And I was like, that's not what I do. Right. And I prided myself in my career. I was a lot different person then than I am now. But something shifted within like 2 weeks after she asked me. And my husband and I started talking about different ways to create more income and pay off debt. We went to a conference and heard about residual income streams and additional streams of income. And we're like, we need to do something. So I went back to the same girl that I totally shut down.
Wow.
And was like, tell me more.
Okay, so ladies, like I love this. I love these stories right here because, first of all, I think sometimes offering the opportunity lots of times is a big fear factor for a lot of people, and especially for women, because nobody wants rejection. And I think a lot of times they don't share that story, or they don't share the opportunity because they default to just talking about their product because they love the product so much. And they don't share the opportunity side because of the rejection factor, and or they don't think that their business is big enough that would attract somebody like you, maybe like a higher success, a high figure income earner, right? Because they put you in boxes. They could prejudge you. So God bless her for the fact that she didn't prejudge you. She planted that seed with you. And even though you were like, no, she didn't burn a bridge, right? She didn't like, whoa, So you're planting that seed. You never know whenever circumstances change for people.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that she did that and took a chance and didn't prejudge you, because now the seed's planted and now you're coming back to her. So then what happened?
So, yeah. And she was like, oh my gosh, I was never going to ask anyone if they were open again because so yeah,
you scared her.
I scared her. But so, yeah, I came back and I wound up getting started the day I met with her. And I worked a job that kept me on the road 4 and 5 days a week. I traveled all the time. I had 3 kids at home and I traveled on weekends sometimes too. So I was missing out on a lot of life with my kids. And at the time, I had no desire to leave my job. I just thought, I'll work this at night when I'm bored in my hotel rooms, make some extra money, right? Pay off debt. And then I started to see other people and the level of success they were achieving. And I started to get this little bit of belief that maybe.
But you said something that I want to tap into because before we jumped on here, you said, okay, maybe a couple of $100 extra dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought maybe $500 I could make.
Yeah. So this right here, this is everything that Larry and I teach, for the Thompson rule, right? The 80, 15, and 5 concept that, that 80% of the people that will come into your business will just somebody that's looking for a way to make some extra cash, $200, $500. We always say $500 to $1,000 a month. That's really where the bulk of your business is, because to your point, most people don't believe that they can do more. Yeah. They don't even believe that that can even happen. So this is the first part of the process of going through that believe, that you can believe. So you started seeing people and your belief went up.
Yes.
Right?
I saw a girl on stage at a conference and she was talking about making 6 figures doing this. And I was like, I literally had no idea that was possible.
Right.
It wasn't even on my radar. And I was like, I could do that. If she can do that, I can do that. Yeah.
It's the famous last words that, they go, and it's one of those things, like whenever you expose people, I always like whenever you can bring them into your incubator, right? And they can like just incubate for a while and kind of catch the fever and see other people like themselves. Yeah. They go, gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. And their confidence starts going up as they start moving through the process. And so then what happens? Because it changes your vision, right? So whenever you change your vision, your perspective changes and you start moving in a whole different direction. So what did you do next?
So there was really a turning point for me. And that was one day I was gone for 4 days. I was coming home for a day and had to turn around and leave for the weekend. And, I had gotten in this place in my corporate mindset that like, I'm providing for my family. My husband was home with the kids and this is what I have to do. Like, this is loving my family. And I came home from this trip and my son, who was 3 years old at the time, he was my baby. I walked in to tuck him in and I thought he was asleep and he like opened his eyes and he looked at me and he grabbed my cheeks and he looked at me and got these big, those crocodile tears and said, "Mommy, don't ever leave." And I knew I had to get up the next morning and turn around and leave again. And it was this moment that I'm like, what am I doing? What am
Wow.
I doing? There has to be a better way. And I was one of those people, I prided myself in my career, right?
Yeah.
And I loved that network marketing. I finally found something, and being an entrepreneur where I could have the freedom to be with my kids and be mom and
Mhm.
still have a profession, a career that I was proud of.
Wow. Okay. So that had to have been, I mean, there's probably a lots and lots of moms out there that have maybe gone through that experience or like
Mhm.
never wanted to have that. Like,
Mhm.
okay, I've got to do something because I don't want to feel what you
Right.
just felt. I mean, like every mom just connected with you on such a deep level, like with their children, because
Mhm.
the tug of war with your heart
Right. Exactly.
is unbearable. And so at that moment you knew, so what happened? Because I know something really significant after that happened.
Mhm. Yeah. So I put a plan in place to work myself out of a job, and I was making decent money, right? And so my husband, I was providing for our whole family. My husband was like, "Oh, slow down, sister, like let's put a plan in place, like don't go jumping ship, And so we put a plan in place. Once I hit this amount of income, I'll leave my job and maybe get something smaller, whatever. We thought we'd had this plan, but God had other plans. And 3 weeks later, my boss called me and said, "Bring your phone and computer and meet me in the morning." And I
Mm,
was given a severance package. We were bought out and my division was let go.
wow.
So
Wow. I
I
love what
never went back.
I love this. And Rachel's saying, she said, I can remember my kids blocking the door telling me I couldn't go to
Aw.
work. Like so many, like, and as moms, like they need us, like that they need dads without question, and first of all, like kudos to your husband, for allowing you the space
Mhm.
and supporting you in this moment to, and not, because I think there's sometimes a lot of men can be threatened
Yeah.
uh whenever the wife has that kind of success, and that she's out there in the workforce, or she's doing and she's building and growing, that there's that. So kudos to him for supporting you. Like, I love that, and I always like to give the guys and the husbands the big shout out whenever they're supporting their rock star wives out
Yeah.
there doing the business. So it's such a blessing that you were able to, you already had that structure, you were already on the path to
Right.
building, that rug didn't get pulled out from under you and blindside you without any plan or strategy in place.
Right. Yeah. Had I not had my side hustle, I would have been scared.
Yeah.
But because I had that and my belief was growing and I was seeing the increase in income and I was seeing the success of others, I knew that God's in control
Mm.
and this is what's supposed to happen and I trust him in it. And I didn't mourn it at all. I took my little one who was mommy don't ever leave and we went on vacation for a week after that.
Well, there you go. I mean, there you go. So let's talk about this. So you are, so as you guys are joining here, we have my special guest here, Miss Wendy Stevenson, mom of seven, multi six-figure earner. She is just talking about how she had started a side hustle, and now she is now just got served a severance package, and she's now unemployed, and now she's full-time networker, right, with
Yep.
3 kids. So going on vacation. So what's the next part of your journey? Because based on what you said, this is whenever the difficulties and the challenges
Mhm.
start after the business happens.
Yeah. 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 It wasn't easy. Okay. A lot of people can look at my success and look at where I've come and go, oh, she just flew, right? Because I did promote fast, but you guys, my back was against a wall by May of that year. So I lost my job in March. Um, in I ran out of money, my severance package, and then I wound up becoming like May, June, July. I wasn't able to pay my mortgage. Um, but I kept just saying, I trust the Lord. I trust the Lord. I trust the Lord. And I kept working. Doing everything. I always say, I do everything I can do, and I leave the rest to God. He'll do everything I can.
Yeah.
And so, and then,
I'm going to stop right here because this is okay. First of all, like there may be somebody listening even today, right here, in this moment, that your back is against the wall.
Mhm.
You may be that person right now, like maybe your spouse of, because of everything that we've gone through or in the last several months, you've lost income, you've lost business, whatever it is, like you may be that person that your back is against the wall. And I loved what you shared here because, I too am a strong believer. And, we say we have faith, right? But you don't really know how much faith you really have until you have to use it.
Yeah.
And, when it says, faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you don't see. And even in the midst of where you were, not having the money, not being able to pay your mortgage. You could and this is where I think so many people get trapped. They get trapped at looking at the circle they're standing in.
Yeah.
They can't see outside of that ring. They can't see outside of that place where they're standing. They can't cast the vision forward. How do I move forward? How do I keep moving? How do I keep moving in the midst of the trial? So, share with us, because in this business, attitude is everything. Mindset, whenever getting new customers, your mindset has to be strong. And whenever your back is up against the wall, you've got family, you've got children depending on you. And I'm painting the picture here. Like, how do you get up out of bed? What did you do? What did you do to keep moving, to get up out of bed whenever the struggle is real? Yes, faith in God, but what are the tools? Equip them with the tools that you used.
Yeah. Number one was doing the income producing activity, right? I knew I can't be afraid of someone telling me no. And we had, at this point, I was in a company that I did a lot of events. So I wound up having an event every Monday night, and I showed up with guests every single Monday night, week after week after week after week after week. If I had to bribe people to come, I would bribe them to come. I would, and I was super dedicated to that one primary activity. I knew if I can get people in the room and they hear the opportunity, that's the best bet for them to join me. And so finding that one thing, so many times we make this list of all the income producing, all of the things we need to do to grow, right? Our DMO is 20 miles long.
Yeah.
And we avoid the one thing that's actually going to make us the money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's what I focused on. That was my number one thing, get people in the room.
And I love this right here because so many times people think that they're doing their business, right? They're busy, and in their mind, they're doing their business, but it's not the thing that sticks money in the pocket. And it really comes down to this: getting customers and getting distributors. And if you're not asking the question,
right,
will you join or will you buy? You're not doing your business.
There's no money.
It's really that simple.
Yeah.
So many people want to complicate it and make it different than what it really is. But that's really, whenever you come down to it, Larry always teaches three things. Desire, you got to have the burning desire. You can't teach that. You got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. You got to be willing to ask the questions. You got to be willing to do the income producing type activities. Without that, you don't really have a business. And so what happened? It's obviously, it's down to focus. You're doing it. Your rubber meets the road. What takes place?
So a couple things. One is I'm showing up and I'm getting people there every week. My business started multiplying. People started coming in. I was, had a comma check and it was starting to grow. It's still, we were still then playing catch up, which then in our faithfulness, I talk about the circle of control. Like we have so many things we can control, and then we have to leave the rest. The outside of our control is not in our control, right? So I did everything within my control. So that was getting people to the events. That was improving myself constantly, personal development. My friend Bob Heilig says personal network marketing is like personal development with a comp plan attached. Yep. That's exactly how I felt, right? I was digging in. I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which was a real game changer for me. Yep. I studied like Jim Rohn and what he taught. And I knew that I had the power in my activity and in my commitment to make to make it happen. And then like God did show up. I got to give some glory to God, because out of nowhere, so my husband decided to get his real estate license, and like in 2 months he closed like 5 homes, like out of nowhere. And so we were able to get caught up on our mortgage. And while he was doing that, my business kept growing. And
I got to show you something real fast.
okay.
Because you said the name, and I want to show you something here. This is Larry's book. Look who that is.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. He's my hero.
There's Jim Rohn right
I
there.
love it.
There's Jim with Larry. There's Jim with Larry right there.
That's amazing.
This is Larry's new book. So I was like going, oh, so, Larry started the same company the same day as Jim Rohn back in the 60s. So,
wow.
I mean, Jim is amazing. Anyway, so sorry.
No, I love it.
His 90th birthday, his 90th birthday in heaven. So anyway.
One thing that, speaking of Jim Rohn, I wrote down, like, because we talked, one of the things I was going to, say is actions trump skill, right?
Yeah.
And one of the big key takeaways I took from Jim Rohn's teaching was that a handful of things make the most difference, right? That 80% difference comes from 20% of the activity. So instead of learning all the things, like we get in and we think we have to immerse ourselves in learning how to market, learning how to do this, learning how to do that, right? All this stuff, and we get overwhelmed and we become paralyzed.
Yeah.
Instead, figuring out those 1, 2, 3 things that are really going to make an impact. When you get really good and really consistent at those, then you add the rest.
Yeah, that's so interesting you say that, because that's, like Larry's always taught, 50 years of experience. Like he's always said, network marketing is easy. It's only just a half a dozen things that you do over and over again. Mm-hmm. And, everything else outside of that complicates it. Mm-hmm. And that's really what happens. So whenever you get good at that skill, and I love the quote. I love the quote from Jim Rohn. It says, this makes me think of you. When the promise is clear, the price is easy. Mm. And so it seemed like you're very clear on what you needed to do, to make the invites, to keep doing it, to focus on what you can do, what's within your power. And I think so many times people lose sight of that. They look for what other people can do. Mm. How can you help me? How can,
why is my team not growing?
Exactly. Instead of focusing on what you can do and what's in your control, and lead by the example, because whenever you're doing it, then people will follow you. Right. And so that's such a great example and such a great lesson here. So let's talk about, let me talk, because we still haven't got to the 7 kids deal here. Like people are like going, okay, like this lady's like amazing. Like here she's like this rock star networker, like what? And so here you are, not even 3 years. Is that right? Not even 3 years, you hit your first 6 figures, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's so powerful. That's such a powerful story. So take us, like, how did your family grow? Like, take us to this part here.
So from the time I was 16 years old, I watched this special, I don't know, it was like 2020. Rosie O'Donnell talked about adopting, and she adopted an older child from foster care. And I always had this burning desire in my heart to give a child a home that was older. And, but then, right, I worked all the time. I wasn't even present for my biological kids. That dream seemed to be gone. And then, network marketing, right? We built this residual 6-figure income. My husband and I, he was doing a little bit of real estate, but we were pretty much both home full time. Our team was growing. And we had the ability, the time primarily, to move forward with adoption. And it was crazy how it all worked, because we started sponsoring a little boy named Mohammed when he was 6 years old, when he entered an orphanage that my sponsor in my last business was the founder of the orphanage. We started sponsoring him and we watched him grow up. We did Skype with him every month and we saw this little boy grow up. And, and his room's right there. Now,
wow.
So one day I was sitting in church and God was like, Mohammed's your son. And I was like, wait, what? Right? I'm like, I don't even know if he's adoptable. Right. And so
now how long ago was this?
This was in 2014.
Okay.
No, yeah, 2014.
And so how old was Muhammad at that time?
So he was, oh gosh, I'm bad with dates. So we started sponsoring when he was 6. He's 15 now, so 14, so 10, I think. I think he was around 10.
So you
Yeah.
were sponsoring him from afar. So you were involved with him,
Yes.
supporting him financially and watching him grow
Yeah.
from afar. And what country was he in?
Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so I think he was about 10. So we'd been in his life for 4 years, and God said, he's your son. And it's like, well, are you going to tell my husband that? so my husband was and still is the director of Special Olympics in Williams County. He has a huge heart for special needs. And I have a huge heart for orphans. And so and I'll make this quick, but so we,
No, take your time. You're fine.
there's a lot of like good stuff in this story.
Yeah.
But I told John, and then we found out he had a brother, and they don't separate siblings. And so I prayed
Was
about
his
it.
brother younger or older?
Older.
Okay.
Older. His brother is 3 years older.
Okay.
And so we had to make a decision if we wanted to adopt both. And so we kind of put it on hold a little bit. Actually, the Ebola outbreak happened in West Africa. And so everything kind of was shut down anyway. And they said, we can't move forward yet, but they are adoptable. Anyway, so then 2 years later, 2016, September 2016, we had the opportunity to travel to Sierra Leone and meet them in person. And they believed that by the end of that year, they would open adoption again. And so I was like, and it was a total God thing that my husband was allowed to go, because it was supposed to be just a girls' trip. Things changed. He wound up being able to go. And I kept telling him, my heart, I know I'm not there yet, but my heart's in Africa with these kids. And he's like, well, okay. I mean, my heart's not in Africa, but we'll see, right? I'm willing to adopt these kids. And so we get there, and so it's me, my husband, and 8 other women. And we walk up to this orphanage, and I see these 2 boys. So we started sponsoring the older brother. So for 2 years, we had Skyped with him. Mm-hmm. And we meet them in person for the first time. And I have a photo I could share in the group, but just tons of tears. And it was like immediately I knew these were my kids. And so my husband, having the heart for special needs, right? There was a room, an apartment in the complex called the Hope Room. And this is where the kids with special needs lived. And so in Sierra Leone, kids that are born with disabilities are looked at as demonic. And so they are often discarded or sacrificed, and which is stuff that's very hard to comprehend. But so
wait, what?
Yeah, they're considered demonic. There's in Sierra Leone, it's this they still have this witch doctory type spiritual stuff that they practice. Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. They kind of all have this witch doctor mentality. And yeah, they believe it's a curse. It's a demonic curse to have a disability. Yeah. Wow. And so my husband was like, I want to go to that Hope Room and see the little kids in the Hope Room. And so jokingly, before we went, I was like, my husband's going to walk in that Hope Room and find a little girl that he wants to bring home, right? Well, sure enough, I have a picture of the moment that he walked up on the porch, kneels down in front of a little girl, and looked back at me like, I found her. And so within 3 days, everyone on the trip is like, Esther's your baby too. You know, you're adopting 3 now. And I'm like, you guys, like, so this little girl named Esther, she was 3 years old. She has cerebral palsy, nonverbal, non-mobile, tiny little thing with the biggest smile that will light up the whole world. Yeah. And she fell in love with my husband. My husband fell in love with her. And 3 days in, I'm like, what are we doing about Esther? He goes, trying to figure out how to adopt 3 kids. That's what we're doing. Wow. And the cool thing about her is that my husband's heart for special needs and my heart for orphans like comes together in this little person, you know? Yeah. And anyway, so the next morning,
I can't wait to meet your husband.
He's a very good guy.
Amazing.
So the next morning, the whole time I'm like, we're all women in here, right?
Yeah.
I was late. for my period. And Thursday morning, John looks at me and goes, "Your boobs look big." And I was like, "I think I'm pregnant."
Oh
And
my
he's like, "What?"
Wow. So you're telling me like you're getting ready to expand your family, your
Mhm.
children by 4 simultaneously.
Yep. Yep. Which is what we did. Which is
Holy
what we did.
moly.
Yeah.
So the adoption went through all
So yeah, so we our adoption was accepted in February of 2017. We finalized the legal adoption in January of 2018. So Sloan, our baby, was born in May 2017. So 6 months later, our adoption happened in person. And then 2 years ago, the 20th of this month, is when we actually brought them home. They got their visas and came home from Africa. Yeah, so it's been a very long journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about like because sometimes I mean this is a lot to take in, but
So
I know that there had to have been some major so because I always look at like women, because we wear so many hats, and we have our personal life and we have our business life. And typically and rarely are they in sync and everything's going well simultaneously, right? So your personal life may be like just crushing it, but your business life, right, is like, or business life is crushing it, but personal life is, So what's happening in the midst of all this? Because this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
For dealing with business, everything that you have to do with business and team or whatever, and then the family dynamics. Because shifting the night, because you have 3 kids at home, we're introducing 3 more. We're having a new baby. This is a major dynamic shift. So, and I don't even know the answers, but I know that there's some speed bumps here.
Oh, heck yes. So there's not enough hours today to even go through it all, but I will tell you that what we were able to do is a beautiful thing. And I don't have any regrets. But the last 2 years, it's been 2 years since they've come home, have been the most challenging of our life, for sure. And not just my adopted kids, it was actually my oldest biological kids in the beginning that were the hardest to deal with. They didn't adjust well to the change. In the midst of all that, I left my network marketing company and started over in a new one. Esther wound up being a lot more sick than we imagined. So she was immediately hospitalized when she came home. She's had 5 surgeries and she's been hospitalized about 12 or 13 times. She vomits anywhere from 3 to 8 times a day, and she can't tell us that she's going to do that. And she can't walk to a bathroom. So that was extremely challenging. I've had the most rewarding and the most horrible days of my life. And what a lot of people don't know is our oldest that we adopted, my biggest fears in bringing him home came true, and he's no longer with us. So we've walked through a lot. But God is faithful, and in everything, mindset, you said mindset is so much, right? Mindset, if I didn't do the work years ago to have the mindset that I do today, I wouldn't have made it through this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. And so, I've lost a baby in the midst of all this. I lost a cousin to suicide in the midst of all this. I've had so much go on, but in everything, James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance." And that many kinds of trials means it can come from anywhere. It can even come from our own mistakes, the trials, but that God can use it to grow us. And I've learned through my coaches. I have a coach that told me, I was hanging on to some things that were not serving me well. And she said, "I want you to go and take that thing that you think was so bad, and I want you to write down all the blessings that have come from it, all the gratitude that you can have because of that thing you walked through." Yeah. And even in what happened in our family, I know that we're not alone, and there's a lot of families struggling and going through really hard things and feeling like a failure as a mother. Cause I mean, to go from, I mean, I've felt like a failure as a mother, right? There's been moments that I've said, what the heck did we do? Like, I've felt like that I ruined my family. Like, there's been hard times. But I know that those are lies of the enemy. And I know that in every step, I've done the best that I know how to do. And that everything that we do, every journey in life is leading us. And whether it's when it's hard for us, I know that at some point in time, I get to bless another mother that's struggling, and it does develop. People ask, how do you do it all? How do you become this person? Because I've walked through a lot of crap. That's how.
I mean, whenever you look at it, it's like you see just God's grace in his hand and everything. Whenever you change, the film and the projector, right? And realize that, what you've walked through, that you're going to be the answer to another woman's problem, another family's problem, because you have walked through it.
Yeah.
And I always think about those, the scripture, what the enemy means for harm, God can always make for good. And, no matter what the challenge, no matter what the situation is, and, that's a lot, all of that is, tremendous thing to take on. But, your light, shines through. And, that's, honestly, Wendy, this is the reason why I created this group, for this very reason, for this very purpose, because I know that there's going to be a woman, maybe you even watching now, maybe watches this in the future, that's going to be so inspired and just hearing like how you pressed through this process, and how you were able to keep going in the midst of the trials. So where are you at now? Like, because this is a lot's unfolded and a lot's happened. Where are you at now?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening now?
So, excuse me.
No,
I wasn't prepared to cry.
That's okay. We do that here. We definitely do that. Like, I love this where Rachel is saying, I love following Wendy. There's a reason I have connection with her and she has crossed my path. See? Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, me and Rochelle chatted on the phone, I think yesterday, actually. So, so where I'm at now, I started a new network marketing business about 15 months ago. So I'm actively building that. I love my team. I love the business I'm in, my leadership that I have there. And it's helped me because they have systems in place. After we brought our kids home and life kind of went crazy, I was like, I can't keep meeting every Monday night, right? Like, I got to find a way to do this all online. I need to do it with more simplicity. I was preaching time and financial freedom, but I actually didn't have a lot of time freedom. And I realized that when my kids came home. And so I found, something that fit better. And in a place that has systems that I was able to also learn just really, truly how to build online. And I have had an audience of people that have wanted training from me and things like that. And I never knew exactly what to do with that. And then in December, I hired a coach, Danelle Delgado, and I realized that I had so much more to offer. And that God has given me a platform and an audience so that my story can be shared and so that I can help other women.
Yeah.
And it's, anyway, it's been such a blessing. And so in January, I launched my coaching business. And so now I do coaching, I have courses, and I do one-on-one coaching and have a mastermind. And just really pouring into other women to help them grow their network marketing business, grow in mindset, help with simplicity and authenticity in growing their business online. Yeah. And then also monetize their genius, because one thing that I am really passionate about that I've we say, like I said earlier, it's personal development with a comp plan. As we get into this and we start growing as an entrepreneur, we realize that there's other gifts and talents that we have that people need, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, so you're really going in the place to where, like, that was one of that was, such a big reason why I created this group. Whenever I say, She Network, sharing her excellence,
Mhm.
I know that, women, especially because they wear so many different hats, that they get lost in the identity of being someone's mom or someone's wife or someone's, and so they lose that, who their authenticity or who God really made you to be, and the assignment that he has on your life, the assignment that nobody else can do,
Right.
that's unique to you. And so many times we lose sight of our own excellence, right? Because we think that our genius, everybody knows. We don't realize what our
Mhm.
genius is that everybody wants, but we take for granted.
Exactly.
And so that's why I'm so passionate about sharing women and their stories, to spotlight that, so they're edified, so they see, wow, I do have power.
Mhm.
Wow, my story does have impact. Wow, I really can make a difference in someone else's life. And so the that was like my whole vision for what this group does, and how, it to your point, and going back to your network marketing, that
Oops.
like going, oh my gosh, I just lost my connection. Like since COVID, it's like everybody. Anyway, I can't even. I'm not even going to say it. Not even. I'm so sorry. Just the way it works. Okay, so back to you. I'm sorry. I don't know where we were.
No, it's not your fault.
Okay. So you are, so we were talking about like excellence. We're talking about how you share excellence, how women are put here for a reason. And, this was the whole purpose of this group, of really getting women to believe in themselves, believe that their story matters, believe that they're here for a purpose and a plan, and that they're here and everything that they've gone through was just to light the path for another woman walking behind her. And so you totally exemplify every piece of that. I love your story. I love what you stand for in your belief system. So inspiring. So inspiring.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I appreciate that so much. And I just want to encourage everybody watching, right? When there was one point in my business that it wasn't growing as fast as other people. Right.
Yeah.
I got into that comparison mode. And later, what it caused me to do is really dig in and work on myself even more and figure out what lesson do I need to learn here, And I said to a girl on my team later who was struggling with that same thing of starting to compare and why am I not growing as fast as so-and-so and things like that. And I said, if I had grown at the rate that I wanted to grow in the time frame that I wanted to do it, I wouldn't be who I am today. Right.
Well, and so, and this too is such a thing that I think women, and especially social media, really exploits that in a big way. And that's, I always say comparison is such an evil, right? Because you really just need to put your blinders on and focus on what you're doing, because whenever you start getting into comparison, it's such a dangerous game, because it's bad either side of the fence that you fall on, because you can compare yourself and you're less than, and in your mind, you're never measuring up, right? Which is the wrong mindset without question. But you can also compare yourself and saying, I'm better than, and which is even more detrimental in my opinion. So it's such a bad game to play with yourself.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that, whenever you said it, the learning, what is it that you want to learn? I always whenever I find myself in the learning mode, or if I find myself in the pit, so to speak, I always tell God, okay, I don't want to go around this mountain again, right? I don't want to be like the Israelites. I don't want to circle around this mountain in the desert for 40 years. I want to be a get it the first time girl, right? Yeah. I want to be a get it the first time girl. So what do you want to teach me? What do you want to show me? I'm open. Just let me have it. And let's move on, because I want to pass this test so we can move on to the next one.
Right.
And so I, it's such wisdom. It's such, it's so inspiring. I'm so honored to have you here and sharing your story. So as we leave here today, what is it that you would like, because obviously you're going to be teaching something inside of our membership area. And by the way, ladies, if you're still on, remember, if you share and if you tag somebody, you go into a drawing. I'm going to be doing a drawing tomorrow for a ticket to Ray and Jess's event in October. Would love to give those tickets away to somebody. And what would you want to share? What kind of words of wisdom would you like to give to them? And what is it that you're going to teach that you think every woman needs to be equipped with, as a mom, as a wife, as an entrepreneur? So share that with the ladies today.
Let me think. Sorry, I had a couple things written down, but one big thing I'm really passionate about is helping women monetize their genius. And knowing that we each have these skills, these gifts, these things that we're good at. And a lot of times it comes so natural that we don't even realize that we have it, right? Or we don't realize that other people don't.
Right.
And I want to give you a really simple thing that I did this year. that I didn't think was a big deal and made a huge impact in my income. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to create efficiencies. I don't want to do extra work, right? And I want to streamline as much as I can. And so, and I'm not a naturally organized person, so I have to be really intentional. Yeah, really intentional with organization to like keep myself together. So I started using Trello. Any Trello users in the house? I started using Trello to keep myself organized. And I created a couple of boards, and one of them was to track my prospects in my network marketing company. And I'm like, wow, this is really a great tool. And I thought, you know what? I've already created it. It's not easy to create. It took a lot of my brain power to figure out how to make this make the most sense. And so I started monetizing it. I started selling it. At first, I just sold it for like $20, $25, and people were catching on and liking it, right? And like, this is amazing. And so I made a couple more boards, and I kept like, PayPal me, and then I add you to the board, and I take you off, and I add you to another, and I take you off. And then finally I was like, oh my gosh, this is not efficient, right? And people want this. So I created a course, and now it's on my website. You can go pay $50. You get 3 templates. You get walk through, answer all your questions, show you exactly how to use the boards. And it's not a big deal. It's a $50 little course, right? But I sell them like every day, and it's something simple like that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anyone would really care about. And it created this
So, and ladies, so just so you know, like whenever all the relationships that we have like here inside of the She Network, like whenever as a member, all of these things that sell outside, like I always you get discounts on as being a member, right? So you get to take advantage of all the relationships that I have. And because this was the other reason to create this membership and this platform for women, because as you know, and you just said it yourself, we spend so much time resourcing, right? Women spend so much time resourcing for our children, resourcing for our families, think recipes, food, all fitness, exercise, supplements, doctors. I mean, right? How to make our lives more simple. And we spend so much time and energy resourcing how to simplify and streamline our life. And so that's, ultimately this whole membership platform is going to be a resource for women to go to, for women that have already figured it out, and whatever walk of life and whatever lane that they're in, they can go, oh, this is go grab this, go grab this, go grab that. And so I love what you're sharing, because this is exactly the vision for this group. And so we'll be talking about that for a way for you guys to be able to access that. So, we talked a lot about mindset. So share with some of the ladies, like maybe your favorite book. Do you have a go-to book? Are you reading one now? Do you have a favorite scripture, favorite quote? What's kind of your go-to thing? So we'd like to share that, and before we leave the ladies today.
One book that I think really helped pave the way for me in the beginning was The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Love that book. I think that's definitely a must read. But honestly, hold on. I talk about it all the time. The people that follow me know. They're probably sick of hearing it. But this one, The Greatest Salesman in the World. I mean, I think next to the Bible, this is number 2. And I think, my biggest thing that I always try and keep front and center, that I think my number one advice for anyone, besides being totally committed, right? Knowing that you're all in with whatever it is you want to go for, is that consistency. And it goes back to that Darren Hardy book. Consistency wins every time. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how many relationships you have, what your network looks like, what your experience is. It doesn't matter. If you create consistency and you have focus in that, you can accomplish anything you want.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I love that. Consistency. And so this is, gosh, it sounds simple, but as Jim Rohn says, what's easy to do is also easy not to do.
Not to do. The weed of neglect comes in, right?
Yeah. Such a true story. So, gosh, Wendy, like this has been such a fun time to share with you, to share your story, to share your genius, to share with the ladies. Like such an amazing, amazing journey. Please, 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 I would love for you to share. First of all, I'd love for you to share a photo of your family, and like your daughter, like all of that stuff. So, the ladies can, first of all, encourage you in your journey, as a mom, but certainly as an entrepreneur. And we would love to just keep cheering you on in the process as you grow through this journey. And such an inspiration, and just appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. It was an honor to be here.
Awesome.
I love what you're doing.
All right, ladies, that is it for us. Make sure that you give Wendy lots of love and hugs here, and we will be looking for her. As we do her training inside the membership. Make sure you tag somebody, or in this feed right here, your name is going to go in a drawing. If you punch out the share, I'm going to also add you in the drawing. I'm going to be giving away 2 tickets tomorrow for Rankmakers Live. I'll be announcing that on Wisdom Wednesday. So you guys tune in. So thank you so much. I'm going to say bye to you privately. So that's it for us today, ladies. Tuesdays with Taylor. Have a blessed, amazing day. Mwah, mwah.